Hello guys, welcome back to episode number 7 of the Canadian Hustlers podcast. We're here together with Bloomfield from the Upper Thames Brewing Company. He has built several businesses over the past, located here in Woodstock. Local guy, serial entrepreneur. Welcome.
Thank you.
To get a head start, could you give us a little bit of an introduction about yourself until where you came?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm born and raised in Woodstock. Like you said, that's a perfect description. Serial entrepreneur. I love starting and building businesses. That's a great challenge for me. I actually met Alex through a business I built in town, Beantown Coffee Company. We were at the market together for a little while there. I've moved on since then. It's still very successful, more successful than I ever had it. So that's it's very rewarding to see.
Yeah. And
moved on in 2016 to Upper Thames Brewing Company in Woodstock.
Awesome. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I could talk for hours and just
keep talking. No, that's fine.
Interject. So I know I saw I caught the podcast and saw you guys on YouTube. I thought it was great that you guys are doing this. I think it's a really neat forum to get businesses and their ideas and experiences out there. Checked up on you guys. You've had some great guests and looks like some great ones coming up. So definitely there's a lot of experiences and learning lessons that I can certainly pass along from our business. It started in 2016 was the brewery over on it's 225 Visscher Park, Unit 9 in Woodstock is where the brewery started.
Awesome.
August 2016 is when the doors opened. A lot of people will ask, they'll say, so how long have you been in business? That is when the doors opened, but it was a very complicated business to open up. So really, the very first meeting that we had, it was myself and Mo Morris from town that had the original kind of seed for this, and it was August 2015 actually. So there was a full year of work planning.
I remember hearing about the news and about you starting it up, and I remember that.
Yeah.
And it takes a while, but brewing companies do take a while with a lot of permits and a lot of.
Absolutely. That was one of the biggest things was just the research, the permits, the actual work, figuring out the capital and budgets. The licensing was a very big deal. Just a ton of things. The staffing, like I said, the build out, the brew house, getting that set up, distribution, supply chain, like all of that, just starting right from scratch. There was nothing there.
A lot of moving parts.
It's very interesting to see, even myself, to walk in and think back to where we came from. We got this 5,000 square foot facility now. We originally looked at 2,500 square feet. It was a single unit. And right from the get-go, we said, well, let's go for both. And I'm glad we did, but it was a very big step to take.
Right. It was a high risk, high reward.
It really is.
Situation.
Absolutely. Yeah. There was no guarantee that any of the hours we put in and the capital from loans and financing was ever going to pay off $1.
Right.
And that did cause us some anxiety, certainly, because from that August 2015 meeting was the first dollar started getting spent on and time, of course, which is super valuable.
And then you don't see a dime back for
we
like
didn't
more
see
than
$1 come back until we opened those doors a year later.
Yeah.
And honestly, our anxiety was pretty high.
Yeah.
We had a very good feeling about it because, as you said, Alex, like you'd seen it in
it's news. You hear about it. You know it's coming. And you guys did a lot of work that way.
Even word of mouth.
Because everybody kind of knew.
Yeah. Word of mouth,
right?
Conventional media. We worked very hard at it because we had press releases, made sure we made ourselves available to radio, newspaper, even non-traditional type of like this sort of format here. I don't think we spent a lot on traditional campaigns like ad campaigns, but certainly as soon as we put the word out that it was opening, we got our social media platforms up. So Instagram came late, honestly. We not that we missed the boat on it, but we really focused on Facebook and Twitter, and then Instagram came later.
Yeah. So to go a little bit further back, because before the Upper Thames Brewery Company, you had a long career in front of that. Let's go back to the age of about 20 years old. You came out of school, you lived in Woodstock. And where'd you kind of get started?
So actually, I don't know if you guys know this, but there was 5 partners that got involved with the brewery originally. If you put back, so I'm 44, so let's go back 25 years then.
Yeah.
I'm actually a career firefighter in Woodstock. So I'm certainly not opposed to putting in work, because I work 42 hours a week at my job, and then at least another 20-25 at my businesses and that sort of thing outside. So it's definitely, it's a big commitment.
Yeah.
Two of the other original partners were also career firefighters. Chad Patton's moved on since, all under good terms. And Mo Morris still is a co-founder, and he is a career firefighter. Drake Merritt, who's a partner now, bought into the business later, but he is a full-time employee. So he works a ton. He's like, 45, 50 hours a week. He's the brewmaster and partner now.
Yep.
So currently we're looking at just the three of us. But just to get back to the question, where was I then? I have been a long-time career firefighter, likely into retirement. This is a business where I do see myself continuing into retirement. It's definitely been one of the more successful businesses I've had. My understanding is both of you guys are entrepreneurs as well. Yeah. And so I'm sure you can speak from experience that it's not every time you hit it out of the park.
No, definitely not.
It's rarely you hit it out of the park.
I've failed several times.
Absolutely, and I'm not afraid to admit that either.
Yeah. So, but you learn a lot from your failures. That's the thing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And it's one of those things, and I guarantee it's kind of cliche, but there's never any failures as long as you learn
it's lessons
from something.
Right?
Absolutely, they're lessons.
For sure.
Yeah, so you guys get it, and I guarantee anyone who's listening to these, they get that too. You don't call them failures. So I've been fairly lucky. Like even some of my failures that I had a courier business. I wouldn't even say it was a failure, but it was 17 years ago I started that, and it lasted about a year and a half. But there was great lessons to be learned. And
actually, business?
It was a courier business. Yeah. And I didn't lose any money on it. I just didn't make a whole lot. Yeah. So I wouldn't characterize it as a failure, but obviously
it just didn't pay.
It's not going now.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't pay, so then you move on.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
You got to know when to walk away too.
Yeah. Beantown,
that's the hardest thing that I find.
It really is. Yeah. Yeah. So I could have kept plucking away and maybe making it a little bigger. That might have been the next step for it.
That has its challenges too, right? You make it bigger, and then all of a sudden the expenses come in again.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I always talk to. There's a couple of the staff and certainly the Drake Merritt, our brewmaster and my partner. You can kind of see him give a sheepish smile every time I start a story, because I've started so many businesses. A lot of them I forget about. Like I had a protein resale business out of my house. I had the courier business. I've had rental properties.
It's in your blood.
I really do enjoy the chase, and that's what I say, that because people will come up and say, "Wow, you've got this Brickhouse Prewbub which just opened last December," which has been. It's the community's embraced it beyond our expectations.
It really has gone very well.
It's
I've been to
really
the Upper Thames, but I haven't been to your Brickhouse Prewbub yet.
Yeah, so Brickhouse has got the full menu. So it's got more of a you can get like full service restaurant where so it's over on 190 Fairway Road is where it is, over in the northwest corner.
Okay.
Where the brewery just has kind of light snacks and that sort of thing. So, but yeah, it's funny. I've had some people come up and say, just everything you do seems to work out so well. Well, that's because they're still there. Exactly.
That's everything they see, right?
So Beantown has been great, and I'm super happy for Janet, who's kept it going.
Yeah.
I still go there, and I still love fresh.
So what was the decision to move on from that?
Time.
Yeah.
Time. I saw the business suffering because I wasn't there. I wasn't able to, because I had both of them. I had the brewery and I had Beantown. So that I could just see it suffering. Janet was managing it full time and had an interest in buying it out. So we came to a mutually beneficial arrangement, and it seems to be, every time I go in there, it's busier than I've ever seen it. So I don't know why I couldn't grow to that, but hats off to her. Like, well done.
But it's hard, right? I mean, most businesses, it is better to be there. It's really hard to manage. I find the more time you spend there, it is easier to grow. But now with Upper Thames, you have more partners, so everyone has their role.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, and that certainly does help. Yeah. I think you guys would agree. Like the more you really have to be there. If you're not there, that's when things can slip.
You have to show up. Definitely.
Yeah,
you have to show up. You have to have a presence.
That's certainly a lesson I've learned. Not that I had to learn. I was always willing to do it, but so take the brewery. Even something as small as this morning. Take out the trash, right?
Yeah.
Go in, I see it's not done, so I take it out. It shows your staff and your partners that you're willing to do right from the very smallest job to the biggest job, which sometimes people will look at, okay, why is he on his laptop again? It's like,
Right.
you know, there's that end of it to do as well. And yeah, you can't spend your entire time mopping floors and taking up the garbage.
No, but it's the little things to show initiative too,
Absolutely,
right? And
yeah.
that's part of it too.
Yeah, and I think it does go a long way, so that the next time when I see something and I'm a little bit too busy, I can say, hey, would you guys mind getting the floors? Can you get that garbage or whatever? They're like, he does it too. So
That's the thing of respect too. If they see you do it, then they're like, oh, he's not above that.
yeah, there's no
Right.
job there that
Yeah.
I won't do myself. None.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I think that's really getting to the core of being an entrepreneur as well.
Yeah.
Right? You have to, it's like you just said, it's the thing of more of building it than the reward of selling it.
Yeah.
Because I think now, because business in general and starting a business is becoming so easy, a lot of, especially young people who would start out their own business, really go for the reward. What kind of money is it going to bring in?
Yeah.
What can I take home for myself? Instead
Yeah.
of, like you just said, it's the chase
Yes.
over the reward.
Yeah.
Chase is more fun.
Yeah, that's right.
It
yeah.
actually is.
It really is.
Yeah,
It's
and
definitely
you
more
grow
fun.
and you grow, and that's
Yeah.
so much more fun than that. Like then once you're bigger, it's still fun. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong.
Yeah.
But just the beginning has so many challenges that you learn so much.
It really does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then even you get to a certain point and it's like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
You know, so that's the thing. We've grown to this point now, and I mean, I think one of the biggest things for us is we don't have a target to get too big. I guess if that happens.
So what's
then
next for that? What's next for Upper Thames?
I guess just to continue to solidify and grow more our roots in Oxford County. That's
Yep.
what we were focused on right from day one.
Yep.
Was to be the first and the best microbrewery in Woodstock.
Yep.
So that was a philosophy that was passed on to us from Refined Fool Brewing in Sarnia. We sat down and met with them back fall of 2015, and they gave us some very good advice that way. They're like you're going to be first on the block, so here's some advice. Make sure you have a really good, solid product, and make sure you have a
Delicious.
fantastic experience. So yeah, I brought some of the beers here for you guys to
I'm
try.
having the blonde right now. It's
Yeah.
delicious. So.
Yeah.
So that was one thing we were, and so we talked about the small batch. If it wasn't quite right, we weren't going to push it out. Using all the best.
And that's hard too at the beginning.
Oh God,
Especially when all this money's gone out.
Absolutely.
And then you make a batch that doesn't
Yep.
work. And then you
Yes.
have to make that call, well, guys, we got to dump it down the drain or whatever
Yes,
you do.
and it has happened.
Yeah, and that's tough.
That's very hard.
Yeah.
Very hard. I can tell you one specific example where a batch got burned.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh boy, it was a combination of we were low inventory and also pushing out a bad product. And I tried it and I was, okay, it doesn't, right off the bat, it was actually the Portage IPA, it was a batch of that.
Okay.
And I'm like, no, it tastes fine. And then on the aftertaste, like, okay, there's that burnt flavor. I try it again. Tastes fine. No, tastes like someone's lit a match and you smell it. I'm like, gets dumped. There's nothing we can do. So
The hardest part is making the call. After it gets dumped, you know you did the right thing.
yes, and we did, and we were behind, and that was when we started. Luckily, the brewers are very good. Like any of these food industries, they all have it. It doesn't. I mean, I'm not embarrassed to say that from time to time we screw up, but it's just.
No, that's business.
It's just
right?
admitting it and being able to fix it, and that's one of the biggest things. And that's what a lot of times I'll talk to our brewmaster and say, okay, that's fine that we screwed up. How do we fix it next time then? And they'll be like, well, I wasn't watching the boil. That's why it burned. Okay,
so now we
fair
gotta
enough.
watch
You
the
need a
boil.
timer or what do you need? Yeah, okay, we'll figure that out. No problem. We'll fix it for next time. So.
Yeah.
Oh, but just talking about how making the best product, and this is no word of a lie, and I'm sure you guys will experience or have experienced it being entrepreneurs, is that the whole local movement, right?
Yeah.
It's not just a movement. It really is. There's a few philosophies to it, and there's truths to it, and that I think the one biggest thing is as a consumer, aside from feeling good and supporting your local business or something like that, you're getting a better product. You really are. So when we're making
I agree with that.
Yeah.
and that's nice to hear. And I think people are more buying into that. I think people had a hard time understanding it to start. They're like, okay, well, I got to spend 20% more because I want to just support businesses, and that's fine. But it goes further than that. Help yourself to get something better.
Yeah.
So we use in the beers, we use Tavistock hops, which is a local hop grower up in Tavistock, right in this county.
Really cool.
The malt is. So that's like the grains that what they do is they call it malt because it's a simple grain, and then they they wet it down, it sprouts, that kind of releases like the
Okay,
enzymes, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then they roast it from there to varying colors, which gives the beer the different colors and flavors and body. But we use Barn Owl, which is out of Kingston. So and same thing, it's a micro roaster, instead of these big guys out of, out west or whatever, which they're fine, but we don't want fine, we want the best. So, and it 100%. Costs, and that's exactly what it costs us, is about 20-25%, sometimes more per bag of this malt. The hops are more expensive, but we're happy to pay it because it's better and we support those local businesses. So, and if you just look at that one right there, so that's Dead Reckoning Ontario Pale Ale. And that's a really neat thing for us. And it's a little bit of marketing to call it Ontario Pale Ale,
yeah,
okay?
Of course. Mm-hmm.
But and why wouldn't we jump on board with that? But it's very factual that the style is American Pale Ale, the taste is the same. Where it differs is the recipe is that style of beer, but every ingredient is all Ontario. Yeah, so the malt is from Ontario, the hops are from Ontario, the hops are right from this county.
Yeah,
and there's most even microbrewers like our size can't say that because they'll get their hops cheaper from the West Coast.
It's also more cost effective, right?
It is, yeah. Or maybe they just like different flavor profiles, but there really isn't very many. I have no problem promoting other breweries because it's great.
That's fine. Yeah.
Someone else has an Ontario Pale Ale, and I can't remember who it is, but it is definitely part of that whole local movement, right?
Yeah. Nice.
I can keep talking forever, so just I'm a huge fan of the podcast format. I really actually don't go on YouTube very much, honestly.
Yeah.
And like I can like even just on the way here, like I was listening to Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah.
That's one of my go-tos, right?
Yeah.
And of course, being in business, I like the personal betterment, like Tim Ferriss. I don't know if you listen to him at all, but really big fan of him. And I love the format, like. Even just right now, you can see the dynamic. Like we could probably sit here for 2 hours.
Oh, I can sit here all night.
Right? Yeah. So and
that's the thing.
Yeah.
But what I do too, if I find someone on YouTube that I like their videos, I won't watch them. I'll just play them and I'll throw the phone in the dash.
Okay.
Right? I kind of have to look at it, but at least I have it playing over the audio.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people do that too.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of whatever you're trying to do, whether it's a business, whether it's a podcast, people need to consume you.
Yes.
You gotta try and find a way to take the friction away of consuming you.
Right.
Some people are on LinkedIn, they never show up on Instagram. Some people are always on Spotify, they're never on Soundcloud.
Yeah.
Someone is always on Soundcloud, doesn't even have a Spotify account.
Yeah.
So that really creates,
interesting.
You have to be across all the different platforms because people are simply across all different platforms.
Yeah.
So if you want to be consumed and you want to max it out, you got to be on the different platforms, and you figured it out now.
And it takes a while to set them all up, but once we're set up, it's just like copy paste almost.
Right.
You know what I mean? Once you have your content built, it doesn't take much.
So here's a question for you.
Yep.
Do you guys use Snapchat?
Not for this. I use it personally a little bit, not much. I should use it more.
It's
a lot of young kids are on there, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, if you look at it logistically, if all your youth is on there, at some point they're going to be your clients.
Yes.
So let's say they're 14 to 22 right now.
But I certainly don't want to market to anyone under 19.
No, I understand that, but you know what I mean, though, right? But like they're up and coming.
Yeah.
Right. So if you have a plan for them in 4 years, then you can build towards that, right?
Yeah.
Well, especially with
I mean,
beer.
I would have no qualms about the restaurant side. Like, so we maintain 2 separate accounts for Brickhouse and for Upper Thames. Brickhouse being a restaurant. Like, that's one thing we're actually very proud of. Like, we certainly don't market to kids, but we market to parents. And we like to have a family friend. Like, we really do. Like, and so it's not typically like, say at the brewery, like it's not a bar atmosphere.
Well, the brewery's it's pretty like, you go there after work and have a drink.
Yes, sure, that's fine, And like, there's board games there. We want kids to come in. Like some people will come in and be like, oh, do you allow kids? Like, no, I encourage, like, come on in. Like, we want this to be a family atmosphere. Lots of, sit around the table, play a board game or whatever. There's lots of like non-alcoholic options. If you want to come in and not have a beer at all, no problem. Have some of our root beer that we make, right? Have a water, a pop.
Can't wait to try that, by the way, the root beer.
It is good. That was one thing we did almost right out of the gate. We wanted it on tap just so that non-drinkers or kids or whatever. And like I said, we're totally fine with that, right? So the root beer gets served in a beer glass, kind of fun. You can do that. And honestly, craft root beer is so good. I'll be honest, when we opened the place, I wasn't super familiar with it. We wanted to put it on tap. We had heard about it. So we got Nickel Brooks. It's called Nick and Brooks root beer. So we put theirs on. It was so good. We're like, we've got to try and replicate this or make our own, right? And man, I'll be honest, theirs is real good. Like they're a gold medal winner for a reason. Like, but I'm not going to try and pretend ours is better, but it's just it's different though, right? Yeah. And it's up there with it. It's a craft root beer, all, you know, quality ingredients, that sort of thing. So it's neat to put that out and make it a family friendly thing.
Cool.
We were just talking about how that just jogged my memory. You guys were talking about the podcast and how you're not charging for it and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You kind of give your time and that sort of thing. And typically, without any expectation, you probably get something back, right?
You always do.
Yeah,
that's it. Like you get what you put back, right? I mean, that's life. I mean, if you give something, and I truly do this for free. Like I get what I'm getting out of this right now. I'm happy already. Yeah. Right. So the rest is free,
but who knows? You may get like a referral for real estate.
Well, exactly, and not only that, like the way I look at it too is you're going to share my content. Yep. Right, because it's your content.
Absolutely.
Too.
Yes.
And your whole circle is going to see who I am.
Yes.
Right. And if they like me, or they don't like me, or if they like me, they're going to research me.
Yeah.
Right. And then
or if we're looking for media, right? Like same idea. We're looking for media or that sort of.
See, that's the thing. I don't want to push my real estate on here either, and he doesn't want to push his media on here either. It's just we're just here to have a conversation and provide value to people. Yeah. We hope to provide value, because as soon as you don't provide value, they're not going to listen.
Agree. Yeah.
Right? So that's kind of our premise.
Yeah. That was one thing that just to build on when we talked to the guys at Refined Fool. So they talked about the quality, making sure that's number one. And the second thing that we definitely bought into, like I'm glad we took the time to go and meet these guys, and they were fantastic. That's why I have no problem mentioning these guys, because if you're in Sarnia, go check them out. They make an amazing product. It's Refined Fool Brewing out of Sarnia, and
we'll maybe add a link in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? And they their business model it's been really close. Like they opened their original location, then they opened a second location with a full restaurant. It's almost not that we copied them, but it's almost like a parallel. It just it's like wow, okay,
and it's a format that works.
It really is, yeah. But that was the one thing they said was the quality product, and the second thing was make sure you grow really deep local roots. You get into your community. Forget about being the next. They specifically said like Bose, who I also greatly admire. Great company out of Ottawa, makes amazing product. They've gotten huge. But don't try and be them. Like let Bose be Bose, and you guys be you guys, and just focus on.
That's hard.
Sure it is, because
you always look at the competition. You're like, what are they doing?
What are they doing?
Copy?
That's what I want to do.
It's so hard to be original.
It is, yeah.
It's very, very hard. It's so easy to fall into this thing of copying people.
Yes.
It's very, very hard to be original.
Yeah. So just to kind of grow on building your roots, so that's what we did. We're like, okay, we want to be first, best, and stay here forever in Oxford. Yeah. Like that. That this is us. That we're going to be here 30 years from now. We're not going to grow to the point where it's like, oh boy, we're a little shaky now. It's like, no, it was just slow, steady growth. And we've literally had meetings like that where we turn and go, you know what, we can either make this step, or if we just keep doing what we're doing right now, slow growth, we're going to be here in 30 years.
I really like that. So I really like that thought.
So what's the ultimate step? Have your own kind of place?
You know what, there's a bunch of little stuff like that. Like quite frankly, we don't own either of the properties.
Right.
So that'd be kind of nice that you're building that equity in your own building. And we've had those discussions, but maybe that happens. Maybe not. We'll have to see. I'm sure the landlords
takes time and money, right?
I'm sure the landlords are quite happy to have us right now, because it looks like we're going to be around for a while, which is kind of nice for them. And I know for sure. I'm not going to say it was just us, but certainly the plaza on Lansdowne there. I think having us there, it did revitalize the plaza. Got a lot of traffic in there.
Brings life. Well,
it's active there, right? I mean, before it was just a little bit commercial. Now you're in there, and it's sometimes hard to find parking. Almost.
There was only the vacancy. It must have been 75% vacancy when we got in.
Well, you guys went in, then Filta went in.
Yeah, I don't know if there's really many spots open. So it's I think it's almost full. So good on them. But that's the problem. If we tried to buy, I'm sure the building's worth a whole lot more now too.
Oh, that way,
the tough part. Yeah. Oh, but with the local roots, that was something that we bought into right away, and it's difficult sometimes because you're seeing people come in for a donation, or you're looking for an event sponsorship, or a sports team, or a charity.
It's tough sometimes,
Yeah.
I get that a lot too, and I just as much as I want to help people, it's hard because
Yeah.
it's all the time, right? It's
Yeah.
taxing.
We honestly, we've had a policy and we make no bones about it. And not that we're any better than anyone, but really it's just, we try and make it work no matter what. No one goes away without anything.
Okay.
As long as it's, you know, if it's just an individual, that's a little tougher. But if it's a nonprofit, you know, charity, certainly, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They get something. We make it work however we do it. So whether it's a free rental, which there's still a cost there for us, but it, you know, we'll kind of look at it, okay, it's still marketing. Or honestly, it's like we talked about though, you just go into it with no expectations. And a lot of times it just comes back. Like, so say we go to the Cancer Society. They'd like to have a $500 donation. We're like, it's just not in the budget. What can we do for you? Can we give you a free rental? And you can sell tickets and have a charity thing. And with no expectations, and then maybe 6 months later, someone who was at that event comes back and says, hey, you guys rent your place out, we'd like to rent it. And it's like, wow, it just came back to us and we never really asked for anything. So it honestly has worked out well that way. So
it usually pays for itself.
It does, doesn't
Honestly,
it? Yeah.
Donations usually pay. It's really hard to accept.
Yeah.
Once you start doing it, it just comes back. It does.
It does.
It takes time.
Yeah.
But there you come back to giving without expectation.
Yeah.
Which is very important.
It really is.
If
isn't it?
you
Yeah.
right away expect something back in return, then it's not going to work out in the long run.
No.
You know?
No.
It's,
No. No.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It is tough it's a tough sell. It's tough to buy into. It's like, you know, especially
Because there's no data on it.
yes.
Right?
There's
And
no
that's the thing.
tracking. Yeah.
There's no, you can't
Yeah.
track it.
Yeah.
If I give you $1,000 today without expectation, there's no tracking.
No.
And then I guess when you start saying like that, then you're expecting something in return.
Yeah.
Right. But it's
exactly.
it's a belief system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard a good expression the other day. They're like, you did, and not that I'm a saint because I look at the bottom line too, but it's like, don't give till it hurts, give till it feels good. So you know what, $1,000 is probably going to hurt pretty good, but
Yeah, well, you know what I mean, right?
gonna
I mean,
feel pretty good.
$250 to your local charity, and go ahead and promote it too. Like, you know,
Yeah.
get something out of it. They don't care. They don't mind that.
Yeah.
But give that, and yeah, you know what? That's probably going to come back. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does always come back.
Yeah.
I do believe that in other forms.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Just not measurable.
Yeah, and that's been one of the nice things with. So it was 2018. So we're chamber members, right, up in Woodstock, and that we became members. And honestly, we were strapped for cash for a while, and I can't remember what the membership was, but we put in. We're like, okay, we want to be good corporate citizens here and go in with with everybody else and make sure that we're paying our fair share too. So we did that, but it was neat. We were recognized by the chamber last year for community involvement, which was especially being so new, it was a pretty neat award to get because, and I think that has been part of it. That we certainly didn't expect it, and we weren't looking for this award, but that was part of it. Was that, and I think it just follows suit that whenever anyone has come asking. So whether it's, like I said, we have had dealings with Cancer Society. Terry Fox Foundation did their kickoff with us, which felt good personally. It's my favorite charity, probably who I think is most important Canadian, Terry Fox, right? So it's neat to be involved with them. The junior hockey team, so Norwich, was sponsored. It's funny, we didn't pick one favorite, right? So it was this
conversation. I had a couple people just reach out to me like in the last couple of days.
Is that right? Yeah.
And I'm on the fence about it, but now talking about it, I'm probably gonna do something now.
Yeah, it's neat.
It's
like, so
conversations that help, eh?
It was Woodstock first approached us. So the Navy vets, so they have our beer and we do like a sponsor night and stuff like that. And I think it was Norwich came to us next, and we're like, yeah. And you know what we did actually was we did the sponsorship because they asked, and we kind of looked at it and we're like, oh, okay, there's the cost benefit analysis was like, we're going to be about even. It's probably just a little bit of a headache, even just because we have to do this and they're going to sell our beer, yes, but we got to sponsor and stuff like that. But it was a good thing to do. It's a nonprofit. You want to help the community, but we kind of turned it into, okay, you know what we're going to do? We weren't in the beer store here yet. So we're like, okay, we're going to pay and get the beer launched down here too.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's been a good,
So
way to go down.
you wholesale beer too for people?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Like as far as
so like stores or something want to carry your beer or stuff like that. Like this, if I wanted to carry this beer and sell it.
Yes. Now that's the other thing. So like just with the beer store and LCBO regulations. So like to sell it like retail.
Yeah, they'd have to be licensed, obviously.
Can't do it. Yeah. But if you're a licensed restaurant, you want to sell it, then
that way.
absolutely,
okay.
yes, you can do that. Yeah. So I think we're in about 50 licensees right now. And just to come up with them right off the top of my head, there's a lot in Oxford County. Just about every bar and restaurant and golf course has it
Yeah.
in Woodstock anyways, which is nice. That's where we're based out of.
Yeah.
Beer stores carry it too, or?
Yeah, now it gets a little bit tricky how that works, the beer stores and LCBOs. Beer stores they're owned by basically the big companies.
Yep.
And you can apply as a brewer to get part ownership, but it's like you get one share out of like 10,000 shares or
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
It's not,
Okay.
it's their distribution system.
Okay.
So because they have that monopoly, we're guaranteed you can put 13 spots in. So we kind of picked our stores and those are free. After that, you have to pay to have your beer put in these
Yeah.
stores. It really is as simple as that. You pay and then you put it in, but it gets to be quite expensive.
Okay.
It's $250 a SKU to have one style listed. So you have to sell quite a bit just to make that back.
Right.
Per store. So, and the LCBO it's fine. Like there's benefits and drawbacks to it. Like myself as a consumer, I like it. They have a lot of different selection.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to get. It makes the government a lot of money, good jobs. The drawbacks are, I'm not a big fan, I'll be quite honest. It's difficult to get a listing in. If I can just give you an example. So our chocolate stout, it won silver at the Canadian Brewing Awards in 2018 and won bronze in 2019.
Nice.
We applied to have it listed in the LCBO, was turned down. We asked, we said, what was the reasoning in having it turned down? The answer wasn't what our marketing people were looking for. So, okay, but the consumer,
That's very vague.
they're saying metal.
Yeah.
Why then?
Why can't you just go in the local ones, right?
And that's what I mean. So if we could go to grocery stores and variety stores and gas stations, stuff like that, and say, hey,
they are pushing for that right now.
They are, yeah. And I'll be honest, I'm a fan of it.
So am I.
I know people have talked about that there's issues with breaking the contract with the beer store.
Yes.
I'm not sure why they signed such a long-term deal. I'm not kind of privy to those conversations. But and I do feel for if like people that work there. That sort of thing.
For sure. There's going to be ups and downs of it, right?
I'm certainly cognizant of that.
But you have to understand, like if those jobs go, there's going to be other jobs created.
Yeah.
Like who's going to deliver the beer? Who's going to sell the beer to all the variety stores? Like it's 6 and one, half dozen the other. Like it's a shift.
Yeah.
And it's not nice.
Yes.
I feel for those people.
Yep.
But that's life, right? I mean, we've all been through those kind of things.
Yeah. It's hard to speculate how many jobs would be lost because if they came through with that, it was more of the third party, like I say, grocery store, gas station.
I would love to carry it actually.
There you go. Exactly.
love
small
to.
markets, right? Like or the Woodstock market, that sort of thing. Great. What an awesome avenue to draw people to those locations, and a nice revenue stream too.
Yeah.
But like the beer store and brewers retail, they're not going to shut all those down. I couldn't speculate how many. They probably will. They'll probably have a few that would shut down the low.
A few will suffer,
traffic
but I
ones.
mean, like, it's still a beer store. That's where you go to buy your beer.
Absolutely.
That's not going to change.
And that's the big guys. That's their.
It's like every variety store carries pop. Doesn't mean the big grocery store doesn't.
Yeah. And see, that's the big guys where they can sell their beer out of. So if I want to say open a store downtown to sell our beer, you can't do it. It has to be brewed on. You have to have a brew on site, which we do, and then I can retail it at the front door.
Okay.
Other than that, if I want to retail it anywhere else, I can't do it.
Yeah.
It has to be through Brewers
It's
Retail,
kinda
which is owned by
same
the
with
big
wine
guys.
and stuff too.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, I don't want to completely knock the existing system. It's what we've got, and it's worked pretty well so far. It's just that, is there a better way? Maybe,
Well, is there a better way to incorporate small people?
That's a big thing, right? Yeah.
And that's kind of what right now you're pushed out.
Yeah.
And there's no real way in.
And I'm sure you've heard these numbers, but when you talk about our business, okay, well, talk about the big guy first. So when you go and buy one of the big brewers, number one, they're all foreign owned. They're all foreign owned, okay? So ours is 100% locally owned. Then you get into, so where do those dollars go? So when someone spends, say, $3 on a can of beer, the statistic I've heard, and it's probably higher for us, the statistic I've heard is 75% returns to the local economy. So awesome, that's great. So now those dollars spin around. I know where they go because I spend those money that money back in the local economy.
So it goes 50 to 75%.
Exactly, it goes to
your kids' hockey.
It goes to our staff. It goes to the charity donations.
Yeah.
It goes to our supply. So our Tavistock hops. It goes to the small canning company that comes in. It goes to the contractors that come in, which frustrating as it is, hey, it's more local dollars in local.
Everything works together,
Electrician,
right? So,
plumber, all that stuff. Our landlord, all that stuff stays right in this local economy.
And the other way around,
the
the money
merchandise,
goes,
all that stuff. It's right, and the number I've heard, and it probably varies, but it's 10% stays in the local economy. So you buy a can of the big guy, 10% stays in Woodstock here.
Yeah.
That's criminal, right? Like,
And most of the time it even goes out of the country.
yes, exactly. Yeah.
It's torn out, yeah.
So that's what we're really happy about, and I think we see it a lot. Like a lot of the people that we do business with, they're succeeding right along with us. It's awesome.
Yeah.
That's something. Just speaking of business, like people, they say to us all the time, like, well, two things with that. They say, "Oh, you're so lucky. You've got this business that's growing and thriving," and it's like, well, yeah, there's a lot of hard work that goes with it too.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work. I mean, like you try, then you research.
Yeah.
You put a lot of work into it, and then people like to minimize, right? And
Exactly.
That's not right either.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people like, oh, you sell a lot of real estate because you're part of this church, or like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
But don't minimize what I do.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't minimize the work.
There's a lot of hard work that goes into it.
Right.
Yeah.
What's neat about our business is you don't necessarily have to own a craft brewery like and manufacture beer to be in the business though. There is hundreds of different ways to get involved with this business, and I already talked about some of them right there. Like there's a small canning company. It's called Sessions Canning. So they come in with a mobile canning unit, come right into our brewery. They can on site.
And you can't do it for the same price, so you get them in.
No, exactly.
You know what I mean? You can't be bothered.
Yeah. So I'm not scared. I'm not afraid to say it's about $5,000 for them to come in, can for us.
Yeah.
So that's when you think about the $3 a can, we're not making $3.
Oh no, there's a lot of expense.
We have our margin,
right?
but there's a lot of this stuff that goes on. So where it's over $100,000 to buy this canning line. Sessions can come in, do it for us at that price.
At no cost. You don't have to staff it. You don't have to maintain it.
That's right.
You don't have to have any headaches on it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to be said for business that way too.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've built things myself, and at the end of the day, it's almost better just to hire the proper person for the proper trade.
Yes.
Because they get it done.
Absolutely.
They do it right.
Yeah.
And it's hard to accept because it costs more money.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. But it's done right.
Yes.
And like you said, it comes back into the economy in your local economy.
That's right. Yeah. Right? So Sessions is local company, so that continues to rotate around.
The company that cans for you eventually is going to spend their money on a beer.
Sure.
In the brewery.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
or their staff will. Or yeah. But we've got like a local. We use Woodstock Sportswear that does our merchandise.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So that's Rick Korea has that. So that another. So you can get into that business.
Yeah.
There's kegs that we buy. You can do keg distribution or. Import kegs and kind of set them up. There's so many different ways you could do. You could get into malt roasting, hop growing, hop processing.
I got a few friends starting to grow hops and stuff like that.
Is that right?
So,
yeah.
Because we got out of the Apple business, and a lot of the equipment's the same.
Yeah.
So a lot of our equipment actually got sold to those kind of people.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Is that right?
Yeah. That's kind of cool.
That is neat.
I sold one sprayer to a guy from way down Leamington area, and then another one went by Tilsonburg, and then So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of young guys trying to start it, and it's not easy.
That's the thing.
No.
So, and I don't want to say people growing hops they've got it easy either. Like they don't. And my understanding is it's not an easy one to grow. It needs a lot of water.
No, and they have competition with the states and trades and tariffs, and there's a lot involved.
Absolutely, yeah. It's interesting though. It's certainly a growing in demand product though, because even in talking to some of the other suppliers that we have for hops, I'll just tell you one story. There was a bigger brewer came in and talked to our one supplier and said, we'll take everything you got. And they're like, well, we can't do that. We have other commitments, and they wanted to be a little diversified in case that dried out.
Well, yeah, exactly. If that guy quits or that guy screws you over, then you got to start all over again.
And it's done, right? Yeah.
Don't throw all your eggs in one basket.
So I think he's got 4 or 5 accounts. We're one of them, and we're happy to. He told us that story. It's like, oh, okay, thank you, because it might have been difficult to replace him, especially on shorter notice or whatever. We're kind of counting on him for this growing season.
They must feel it a bit too, the bigger guys, right? There are a lot of microbreweries starting.
Yes.
And I'm sure it affects their sales. Like it has to.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
I would think so. Yeah. And then especially, I'm not exactly sure how this growing season is going to affect it. Like, so yourself coming from a farming background, it's been cool and rainy, right?
Yeah. Very rainy spring.
They were just talking about how some crops aren't even in the ground yet.
Yeah,
that's
some
crazy.
areas. I think we're Haldeman County. They don't have stuff in the ground. They didn't get it.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
all of it's very clay. So if it's too wet, they just can't even go in the field. But everything where I live is in.
Is that right? Yeah.
But then
yeah.
again, it comes down to hops. I think they grow them in hills. I'm pretty sure. They try to hill them a little bit to keep the moisture out of it.
Yes, it is.
See, when you can control
I've
moisture,
been to hop fields, so I'm not super.
It depends on who it is, but like
Yeah.
the premise is when you can mound something,
Okay, it'll
you can
retain
control that mound better.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
As opposed to being in the ground. If it rains, it's wet, it's always soaked.
Okay,
Right?
yeah.
So you're better off adding water.
Yep.
So I mean, with it being that wet, that's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah.
In Tavistock, it's quite clear that they use a lot of water because they've got irrigation to every line.
Oh, yeah, they'll
and
use
it's
a lot
on
of
like
water.
tap. Like I've just seen it where it's like, okay, you know, it looks like every day they're hitting it with water. So
Right.
yeah, yeah. So I'm just curious how that's going to affect their yield with the cool spring and then the
But the corn, obviously, knee high by July. It is definitely behind from last year,
Yeah.
but it's catching up.
yeah.
Catching up fast. I mean, this week was really warm, right? So
The other thing that our brewers deal with is that conditions like that can affect the flavor and
Oh, for sure,
the
yeah.
quality of the
Yeah.
hops too. So that
Yeah.
they have to account for that. So whether it's more or whether it's just it's going
Well,
to
it's like-
taste
it's-
slightly
it's-
different.
with-
Or,
I grew apples, the same thing. If you don't get enough sunshine, you don't get enough sugar.
okay,
The
yeah,
apples are not as sweet.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of interesting.
So
that
it
way,
is.
too.
It's very interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm definitely. I'm sure you guys have got this. I'm not an expert at anything in the brewing field, but I know this
I mean,
much in almost everything,
you're
right?
the market. I'm a little like that too.
Yeah.
I'm by no means an expert in hops or anything like that.
That's right.
Or
Yeah.
hops growing. I
Yeah.
just talked to a few farmers and they told me a few
Yeah.
things. So
I love. I'll give a tour, say, and go through the brew
Yeah.
house and brewing and stuff like that, and I can answer pretty much any question they throw at me because I and I'm not, like I say, I don't want to pretend I'm an expert or anything like that. But like, so our brewmaster, he's an expert. He knows
Yeah.
what he's talking about. He can
Yeah.
answer anything. He troubleshoots. Like me troubleshooting, we'll talk about things sometimes, but usually I think he's just bouncing off me talking out loud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, yeah, well, that makes sense. But it's just interesting because I'll talk to people who come in and they're coming from like zero experience. They like craft beer.
Yeah.
They might know what hops are and what malt is and maybe know what kind of the 4 major steps of brewing are, but I've seen it every day for 3 years and do talk to the brewers quite a bit.
you'd be surprised how much you know.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Maybe, yeah.
I've noticed that like it's something I go out of a field
Yeah.
and then you start talking to people and then you start talking about it and you surprise yourself like I guess I do know quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
I think it
Because
really is that.
over time. You've been doing it
Yeah.
for 4 or 5 years. You do pick it up. Right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
It comes back to like you hired a brewmaster.
Yes.
That's his job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to be the brewmaster and the social media expert and the till, and you can't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Everyone has to have their point in their business.
It's interesting what I got pigeonholed into, which are probably my strengths, and I like them and I
Yeah.
enjoy them. So I do a lot of this sort of thing,
Yeah.
which I enjoy, and it's good,
Yeah.
and it obviously it helps the business too.
For sure.
But I do things like I do the excise taxes and the provincial taxes. So
Okay.
how that got, I'm not going to say I'm even the best at it. Like Mo is our bookkeeper, like so he does like the accounting, payroll, that sort of thing. I am not suited to that. I know what my strengths
Yeah,
are.
I'm not-
Mo's actually a
not
good
big on that
spokesperson
either.
too. He could do this stuff no problem. He's a very good spokesperson. I got pigeonholed into the tech guy, which I'm not a tech guy either, but I guess
You're the most
one of the
techie in the
better
group,
ones.
so-
Yeah. So it's hilarious. Like something goes wrong with our point of sale, they call me, and I'm like, okay, I'll do my best. Here we
Right.
go.
Did you turn it on and turn it off again?
Hey, that worked. That just worked last week. I swear to
Yeah.
God, our debit wasn't working.
That does work on the debits.
Reset the debit,
Yeah.
reset the router, on it comes.
Yeah.
So there you
Yeah.
go.
Charge a wireless, pull the SIM out for 5 minutes,
Yes.
put it back in.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah, my next call was going to be to debit, but yeah, it literally did work. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, well, I guess that does work. There you go. Yeah.
So how do you feel social media helped you?
So that was huge for sure, and kind of 2 prongs to that. The one was that the reach that we got, it was really big. I think people were just excited for the business, and the second thing was that the cost was like it was nothing. Obviously,
Yeah.
you can spend on it, right?
Yeah.
And some of the things like the setups and the giveaways and things like that there's a cost to that, but yeah, the reach that we got and then it being free, it was nice. The one thing with social media that I've learned is that taking advantage of that, in my opinion, we have a pretty exciting product that people like to start with. So where I had the coffee business and you'd post something and you get a few likes and stuff like that. Yeah. Or can you just imagine I here's what I compare it a lot to is like a grass cutting business. If you've got that and that does it for you and it's putting food on your table, awesome. Might be a little tough for your social media though.
Passion goes through though.
I think so. Yeah.
It honestly does. If you're like passionate about grass cutting and you make sure those lines are perfect,
Yeah.
and you take a picture and you're proud of it every time, like that comes through.
Yeah.
People see that. They're like, that guy loves his grass cutting.
I think so too. Yeah,
Right?
I do.
And I find a lot of people, they shift their social media to someone else.
Yeah.
And you can tell.
Right.
And as soon as you try to control it yourself, the passion comes through.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. You have 4 or 5 guys that did it. You really, because they're all passionate about it. And it obviously shone through because everybody heard about it and everybody talked about it.
It really did. I think that people responded like over the top what I thought they would. Like as far as the Facebook likes like on your page, like that's fine. It doesn't do like just to say that, it doesn't do anything. You have to use that too. But we definitely thought it was amazing how the likes climbed. And what I like more is when we create a post that, you know, we're proud of this. We've launched a new beer, or we've got a new can there. When you see the likes on that, and then the commenting and stuff like that, and oh wow, people are sharing, and it's like, oh, that's awesome. People actually they really
they're voluntarily sharing your stuff. They're marketing you voluntarily.
That's what's amazing.
It's a story you create, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll be honest, like, and we just talked about it before with our new menu. I popped that out. Which was maybe a little quick. Should have been a little more thought out. But it's just trying to find the time to do it properly and that sort of thing. So you're just getting pulled in a million different ways, and it's extremely important. But
so what are the biggest features on your menu if someone wants to come to Brewhouse? What would you suggest them to buy?
Honestly, the menu, we're really proud of it. So Adam and Hillary have done an amazing job. They set up the menu. It's something that we were nervous about getting involved in because it was none of our area of experience. Myself, I would suggest that I was the biggest foodie out of anyone. But even myself, I still knew my drawbacks that I'm like, I don't know the first
Well, you're
thing
only one taste bud, or however many taste buds you have. You're only one opinion, right? And that's
So now the benefit that we did have, and it really was kind of just a lucky coincidence, was that we hired Erica Hughes. She's our general manager now. So she runs both locations, like the whole shot. But when we hired her, there was a few different people that were up for general manager. There was one that was a quality control at a different brewery, and Erica, I guess, that really came down to the two of them. Erica had quite extensive restaurant experience.
Okay.
And the reason it wasn't because of her restaurant experience, it was because of her personnel experience and that sort of thing, and running the front end instead of the back end.
That's a big job.
Which we didn't necessarily need. We looked at the person that was in QC for the other brewery, and we're like, well, we're doing quite well there. We have people that are already experts. We really needed the help in the front of the house. So we hired Erica. And then when this opportunity came to open up Brickhouse, which is right by the Sally Creek Golf Course, we already had Erica in place. So we met with her and said, how do you feel about this? And she gave, it was kind of funny to go to one of your staff, but she's a key cog. She's a key part of our whole business and very valuable. We tell her that every day. We could have done it without her, but with Erica, so we just asked her, is this doable? She's like, yeah, like pretty much without hesitation. She's like, yeah, we can do it. We can, and we talked about maybe having just a really, really limited menu. And she goes, no, we should be able to do like a 12 to 15 item menu, like sort of limited. But even like
I like a more 12. I like a 12 to 20, like no more than 20 kind of thing.
Range.
I find it gets too complicated after that.
So there's no serious like proteins, and that's what we were told to kind of stay away from, like a big steak or like a full chicken dinner type thing. You're not going to see a whole lot of that, and that was just to keep the menu fairly simple and kind of pair it up with the beers that we had.
So what are the hours there?
Sorry?
What are your hours there?
It's typically about 11 to 11, 7 days a week is what it goes. Sometimes
so what I'm saying is like at night, then you have like a lot of like hand food, finger foods kind of thing.
It typically stays full menu. At times, if it's kind of empty in there, they'll shut down and go to a limited menu as they kind of roll the kitchen back. But other than that, everything's pretty much available 11 to 11.
Cool, I'm gonna come check it out.
Absolutely, yeah.
How often do you change the menu?
So the Brickhouse, it just opened in December.
Okay.
And it was a very limited appetizer menu just because we wanted to push to open. Honestly, like it was same thing. So we signed to open that one. That one was quicker actually than Upper Thames on Lansdowne.
Well, you knew what you're doing though.
We kind of did. That was the thing. So the licensing, everything came a little faster. It was almost a race. Mo was more looking after the build out, and I looked after the bookwork, and it was kind of a race to see who would be ready first. Because we were both pushing, and it almost happened simultaneously. It was like late November. We had the licensing, And then we're like, okay, we don't want to miss the Christmas season. So the beer was set to go, bar was set to go, the kitchen was not where we wanted it. So we're like, okay, we don't want to push out anything that we wouldn't
be quality.
Be proud of and have quality. So we just opened, it was limited menu. I think we had 4 or 5 apps was all.
Yeah.
And then January came kind of the 12 to 15 item menu, and and then we added specials like in March, started adding like a weekend special.
Yeah.
And then this menu that just came out, so early July here, and I expect it'll be kind of seasonal, because that's one thing that's been great. And I full credit, like I said, to Adam and Hillary, and then Erica, the general manager. She's between those three. We gave maybe a little guidance to say we just want a limited menu, like 12 to 15 items. Is that going to work? Erica's like, yeah, that's great. That's what I had planned originally. So that's what we're going to do. Then she and the chefs put their spin on it though. So instead of just having frozen pub food, which I'll be quite frank, yeah, our restaurant has some frozen stuff, but there is a ton of fresh
Almost every
stuff.
restaurant does.
It is, yeah, it is. It's just it's very, very difficult to have 100% fresh.
And the smaller the menu is, the more you can shrink it down.
Yes.
The easier it becomes
Yeah,
to
and
provide
we
fresh
do.
food.
I mean, I've worked in this part of the kitchen, like the dishes and clearing tables, that sort of thing. I have yet to step foot in the back end. I really want to get back there and kind of just experience and learn that part of it.
I actually never worked in a restaurant. I've always thought about doing it just to get the experience.
Yeah. So I like it when I was just there. Like, well, if I'm there, I'll pick up tables like we talked about. I'm not above doing anything. But it was a couple weeks ago, worked a shift running. Yeah. Which I don't want to say it's the lowest end, but my daughter does it, right? She's 16 years old, so you don't have to have huge qualifications. Yeah, running food.
But it's good for customer relation.
I think so too. Yeah, and it was neat. So when I did it, I covered a shift for her, right? So I'm in there running tables and stuff like that, and the staff's giving me a hard time, right? Which was kind of fun. It was pretty good, yeah. But they were actually kind of happy because I could pour beers too. So,
that is correct.
So they're like
18 to serve, right? 19 to drink. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. But with the menu, like we use a lot of fresh stuff, and then we do something that no one else. Well, it's difficult for other people to do, and that's that we use our own beers too. In almost all the sauces. Okay. Like a soup.
Oh, so you make your own beers, like you make your own barbecue sauce.
You got it.
Beer.
Yeah. Nice. Barbecue sauce or cheese sauce.
So you sell that too?
Awesome. We don't. We talked about it. Okay. So there you go with other entrepreneurial stuff. Yeah. I talked about it with Adam, our one chef, and he was all over it, but it's just a matter of finding the time and executing it right.
I was in Quebec City. I can't think of the name of the brewery, but they did that actually. They made their own barbecue. They made all their own barbecue sauces. Perfect. And sold them too. Yeah. I just can't think of it right now. It's on top of my tongue, but I was there about a month ago and I was in one of those microbreweries. It's cool.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of finding the time and executing it right. Because it's of course it's food, so it's not just like make it, throw it in a jar. It's like we got to package it.
Yeah,
properly,
and it has a shelf life.
Have it safe and that sort of thing. So
So to go back to that thought of social media and creating the menu, kind of combining that together. I don't have any experience myself in the restaurant business. Does the customer feedback make any difference in how you build a menu? Or what is kind of the process involved in putting different types of food together?
I can tell one thing for sure, and here's the thing, so I sit in on the kitchen meetings, but I'm almost an observer. Right. You know what I mean? We kind of let them play, and they're so good, we almost don't want to interfere too much. Makes sense. It's almost the same with the brewers. They really almost have carte blanche as far as their one-offs and that sort of thing because they're so good. Why would I tinker with it?
Exactly. If it works, you're just there to observe and maintain.
So there's certain boundaries that we have, and to go outside of those for whether it's kitchen or brewing, then me or Mo will step in or have our say, but typically they've been knocking it out, so it's kind of carte blanche. As far as the customer feedback, the one that they might not even notice or see is that we've had these specials. Well, there's a couple of specials that they went over like crazy, so we're like, that needs to go on the regular menu. Right. Yeah. So the one would be, I think it was a pesto chicken sandwich, went over really well. I missed it. I didn't get a chance to try it, but it made it onto the menu. As far as that would probably be the one big thing.
Here to stay because you like it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I can tell you the one thing that, and I'll give my wife props for this one. So she's on that keto
diet,
lifestyle. She likes.
Lifestyle.
That's fine.
I might need a little more of that.
And it's working for her. So good on her. Like I don't know if I could do it because beer is not part of.
Beer is not part of keto.
You can have a few of the really light beers.
I'm trying to think what the keto thing is.
It's like non-caloric.
a lot of carbs.
Yeah, no
sort of
carbs.
thing.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
A lot of carbs.
My
is
wife
kind
went
of
on there for a while.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's been over a year. But the one kind of nice treat you can have is wings. But we had when we opened, they were all breaded wings. So she asked, she goes, "What can you guys get non-breaded wings?" So I asked the kitchen. They were kind of like, I don't know if we want to keep both. So I said, well, don't do it for her. Do it if it makes business sense.
Yeah, exactly.
They kind of talked it out. They were like, yeah, we can do both. So they added them before the new menu came out, and they're like wildly popular.
But they're still better than the breaded now.
Clearly people, it's at least 50-50.
Yeah.
So clearly people wanted them.
I would choose them.
So that's on the new menu.
But
so
you
that's,
don't know these things unless you try.
yes,
Right?
yeah. And as far as like, I hate to call it a fad because it's you can make some good choices with keto, that keto thing too. I think there's some very healthy choices. But the one thing is, so like we've got a keto bun.
Yeah.
And I think it's mostly, I don't know what, I don't want to get pinned down to this, but I know it's a good portion of egg is in it.
Yep.
And then like almond flour they'll use. I don't necessarily know if that's what is in it, but it's definitely, it's very, very low carb basically is what you're trying to avoid.
Yeah.
And the feedback we've had on that is that it's very similar to.
That's cool.
The one thing I think we had it from the very beginning, and I'll give props to, it was either the chefs or Erica did it, was the Beyond Meat burger.
Okay, yeah.
So and
for the vegans.
Yeah. So
That's a big thing now too.
I just had it on the weekend finally because obviously I can't have everything
Right.
at our place. But every time I eat something, I'll try and get something different, even if I got a favorite, just so I can talk about it or let people try it. Mm-hmm. And I've had some, mostly it's hits. Like it's 95% are like, wow, that's fantastic. A couple things like, I might have done that different or whatever, but they're doing just such an amazing job. But the Beyond Meat burger, it was kind of neat. So it's like a soy and vegetable oil based type of thing. And I was skeptical. Maybe that's why I waited so long
I'm
to try
skeptical
it.
of those kind of burgers.
Have you guys ever tried it?
I would never try it. No.
It's so good.
Is it good?
I love meat.
So
I
good.
love meat.
I couldn't
know
believe
I should
it.
try it, actually.
I couldn't believe it. So I ordered it. Well, the one thing is, I guess it's a company, right? It's called Beyond. I think it's called Beyond Meat. Is it not?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it's a
That
fairly.
rings a bell. One thing, I've seen advertising for Beyond Meat.
Yeah.
Tim Hortons does it now.
Okay,
Yes.
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of companies that are jumping on I think it's because they make such a good product. Yeah. So I tried it and I tried to be very skeptical of it, and I'm telling you, the texture was 100% bang on. The color, bang on. It looks, it smells, everything. The flavor, I said it was like a 95%. I'm like, maybe I could tell like it's not
So
quite.
what you need someone to do to you is put a Beyond Meat burger on a regular burger and not tell you.
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing.
And then see if you find out.
Here's the thing. I knew, so that's even I was having lunch with my wife, and she's going, "You're just saying that because you know."
Right.
I'm going, maybe that might be it, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to be skeptical, right? We're really trying to give it a good grilling.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, we've had vegetarians that come in and order it, and they send it back because they're like, "Oh no, you sent me a beef patty." And we're like, and the chef's like, no, you got that's your Beyond Meat burger. That's it. They're like, wow, that's delicious. I never would have believed that that's a vegetarian burger. yeah, but it's very tasty. It's good.
That's fantastic.
So there's a few things that are kind of customer driven, right? Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
How's your own involvement in the business in terms of time management? Like you've built multiple businesses.
Yep.
Also to give a little bit of value to maybe some young kids that want to start their own business.
Yeah.
I like that question.
Yeah. How do you plan your week? What is kind of the structure that because you have one business on the go now?
Yes.
You're full time involved in it.
Well, so I have a career outside of the business. But honestly, I don't have any days off anymore, which it's fine. It's very rewarding, but I don't have, but I don't have a lot of sympathy when people don't say they have the time.
Yeah.
It's like,
I know exactly
you have as much time as you want, as long as you make it.
Yeah, people are like, I don't have time to work out. No, you choose not to.
It's all about
that's what it is.
It's about balancing, and I'll be honest, if something has sacrificed, I guarantee my friends would say, you've sacrificed our friendships. And it's very tough.
But that's entrepreneur though.
Yeah.
You have to sacrifice something.
Yeah.
Right?
Because I know my family life, like they've made sacrifices too to not see me as much. Like right now they'll be home. My wife had a day off. My daughter's on holidays. So I worked all day, then came down here. very happy to do it. But tonight, I'm not going out to see my friends. It'll be with my family all night.
But so your daughter works in your business.
She does.
So you're there.
Yes, and
it's not. I mean, it's not ideal.
Yes,
but
and
still, you're still spending time. You're still bonding.
But it's been neat to be able to afford her that opportunity.
Right. Exactly.
So she had to apply and had to interview and everything like that. But I knew she had a pretty good chance to get it. So it was Erica that
had some pull with the boss.
Erica did. And the thing is, as far as I'm concerned, anytime that and I would say for any business, your family should be pretty reliable. Like they should be reliable, trustworthy. And even where she was sick, where I had to cover that shift 2 weeks ago, she's sick, so I covered it for her. So who better to have? Mo knows that, well, if she doesn't show up, at least I know Carl's going to come in and that's all going to be covered. So typically families worked out well. But you were asking about like a couple things about like, so time management. I'm probably not the best one to ask about time management.
Yeah, no worries.
I'll be honest, it's probably one of my weaknesses, and I guarantee my wife would say that. I use Wunderlist. You guys heard of that one? Wunderlist, it's an app. So I use that, probably not as effective as it should be. Use Google Calendar, try and get that stuff kind of logged in. On Wunderlist, I've got kind of like immediate important, that sort of thing to try and work through, but typically it just ends up in a box. And but honestly, I should have better time management. We've got another beer that is getting sampled at the LCBO for whether it'll get listed. And thank God, the brewer Drake, I was just talking with him. And I'm like, I forgot I got to get that thing in there, you know. So it kind of just slipped or whatever. And he's like, no, I did that and I started it. And I'm like, thank you. So
it's a style of entrepreneur though. Yeah. Some people are just not like I'm probably more similar to you.
Yeah.
I have a tough time writing everything down. I make lists.
Yeah.
And I try to go by them, but then I kind of end up just getting to going to work.
Yeah.
Like, I know stuff's got to get done.
Yes.
So I just go.
Yeah. But I think
the busier I get, the more I write down, I find.
Yeah.
And then you get really busy, like, you have no choice but to write a schedule. But then as soon as I slow down, I slack off again. I don't know how to change that habit, but I do have that issue.
I think one really important thought and a key takeaway for myself, and I think for a lot of people who start their own business, is enjoy the process, not the reward of it.
Yes.
And I think that's a really important thing.
Yeah.
You were right away in the beginning of the conversation pretty on top of that. Could you maybe get a little bit more into that?
Yeah.
What it means for you personally?
I can't tell you the sense of satisfaction and accomplishment that has come from this business. Really any of the businesses, but certainly seeing this one succeed and being able to apply a lot of the lessons that I've learned and seeing my partners apply those as well.
Yeah.
Because it didn't happen by accident. It was a lot of lessons that we had to apply and hard work and a certain amount of risk as well, right?
Yeah.
Like quite a bit of risk actually, and continue to put that risk out there. We're seeing some of the rewards of that, but yeah, I'll tell you, it's really amazing. And Mo and myself especially, I just say he and I have sat down and had a beer, and I remember like last year's anniversary, we're sitting there, and the brewery over here was just packed, and he kind of just turned to me and raised his glass up and goes, "We built this." Yeah. And I'm like, there was nothing here, and this, we did this. Nice job in the clink classes.
That's awesome.
It's super rewarding and super satisfying, and I can tell you that as far as my family goes, they're super proud of it. They love that sense of, oh wow, your dad owns Upper Thames, and my wife to say, oh, you guys going out to Brickhouse, so that's your place, right? Like that's cool. Yeah.
I'll be honest, Upper Thames on. I'm like, yes, they're coming on. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's like
I can tell you there's a little bit of drawback to it, and it's fine. It's kind of a neat experience actually, but even my wife will say it, like if we go out for supper, like, and I'm happy that people know me and they're friends and they come support my business. It's very satisfying that way. But it's funny how we'll have supper and there'll be a dozen people will come by and want to chat, and I'm happy to. I never say, oh, I'm busy, I'm eating supper, and my wife gets that too. She just
that comes with it, right? That's part of it, right? But you enjoy that too.
Yeah, so. But it's so nice to like, what do I want? Not people to go there, or not people to come over and talk to me, because I'm glad. Like these are my friends. A lot of my some are customers who I've gotten to know, who I'm friends with now. But these are all my friends that are coming in, and it's really neat. Or if say just someone from out of town that's not that I don't know. They pop in and one of the staff goes, oh, that's Carl. He's sitting there having a bite to eat. You know, he's one of the owners. They'll come by and say hello, and I'm happy to, drop everything. And that's all part of owning the business too. It's neat. Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah.
You might have to think about this one for a little bit, but if you could give one piece of advice for anyone in their early 20s to start a business, what would it be?
I know you mentioned that, and here's the one big thing I would say, and I wouldn't want to discourage people from going to school, right? Like that's huge, and you have that for the rest of your life. But I've heard people talk about it. I've got 1 year of college, and it was more in line with my career. But as far as business, I learned more from going out and doing and failing than I ever did.
100%. 100% same way.
Than I certainly ever did from school, than I did from having a conversation or reading a book. It was going out, doing it, and failing. That was where I learned the most. So that's what I would say. I mean, you don't want to go out and fail to the point where it's like, okay, I'm $1 million in the hole now. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Go out.
Micro failures.
Yeah. But it's funny. I seen a little thing today too. As a little, you always see these little things. They'll give you $200,000 for a school loan, no problem. They won't give you $20,000 for a business loan.
Yes.
And you're like, it's crazy.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
The $200,000 is gone too.
Yes.
I mean, you have an education, and there's no minimizing that.
Yes.
But if it's not in a field you want to do, I think it's a big waste of money.
Yeah.
I could spend $200,000, travel the world, and probably learn just as much.
Yeah.
I think. I like that.
I couldn't agree more. And even to go into a little bit of that, we tried to get like government financing for when we first started, and I got to be honest, I'm not super happy how that goes. We never did. We didn't get any government financing.
It's because it's mountains of paperwork.
Yes, the paperwork was ridiculous.
We've tried to apply for grants on the farm too.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Yeah,
just ridiculous.
It was a pack of paperwork like this, and then the very last part of it was when we were just about ready to sign. They're like, oh, and by the way, there's a 2.5% fee on all this loan up front.
Wow.
And we're like, well, why would we do that then? Why wouldn't we get
upfront?
Yes, it gets rolled into the loan. But
but still.
But that's our money that we got to pay back, and that's what we asked. So why would we ever do this? Why wouldn't we just get traditional financing then? It's like, well, but you can't. It's like, well, we're lucky enough we can. Like, we just wanted to go this route just because it was an avenue.
To use money for free to pay back in order to grow as it grows.
So as soon as they added that, we just went, okay, well, sorry that we all went to all this work, but I guess this isn't for us.
Yeah, because there's contingencies with it, and it's upfront, so they want it back.
Yeah,
so and you pay off, so if you get $100,000, then they take $2,500 off right up front.
Yes.
So you're actually only getting like $98,000 or $97,500. Why would you do that?
It's just
it's ridiculous. I can go to the bank. You can get more. You can probably get money at like 4%.
Yeah.
Private money at 6 to 8. I know it's more.
Yeah.
But you pretty much walk in, you get it.
Yeah. I can tell you some of the business organizations that we've benefited from, because there is some great ones. Like it's the Community Employment Center.
Okay.
They've got some great programs, and we've definitely benefited from them. So like full props to those guys. The Woodstock Small Business Center.
Yeah, she's great. I met her a while back.
Yeah.
She's there's a new lady there. I don't know if it's a new lady or she's been there for a while, but
a couple of months ago.
Yeah, they're bringing a speaker in too. Actually.
Oh, are they?
Is that right? Yeah.
A little bit of a renowned speaker. I've seen that somewhere on social. I got to look it up again.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So they've been a good resource. Some of the like trade organizations, so we're members with the Ontario Craft Brewers. They've been good. But that's our own organization. It's not government. Although the Chamber of Commerce, Woodstock Chamber of Commerce, great resource for us to draw on. So there's definitely some good ones out there. But like you just said, like as far as the as far as loans and grants, it's lacking for sure. It's lacking.
And I know there's people out there to do it for you, but then they take a percentage off again too.
Well, they take a good chunk.
The government's going to take 2.5%. They take 20.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, for free money, and I mean, sure, but they do all the paperwork, and I'm sure they're getting paid for what they do.
Yeah.
But that's a little ridiculous. What's the point of it then?
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
Because there is so much money out there that for grants that nobody touches because it's just too much paperwork.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it's a matter of time as well. Because the whole internet, what's happening now too, everything is getting democratized in that sense. It's first of all money in general, but also education.
Yeah. Right.
Where you just said college, if you want to start a business, you just got to fail. And not specifically need to fail.
Yeah.
You got to jump in, try. If it doesn't work, you try something else and build and build and build.
Fail forward? Let's go on.
That's right.
That's perfect.
Yeah. I've read like some entrepreneurs, they're like, go out there and fail spectacularly, like lose it all, and it's like I'm not a big fan of that.
I'm not a big fan of that theory.
No.
But there are some that say that, like, lose it all, start from nothing. Now you know where you start.
Exactly.
Like, as much as I know where they're coming from, I'm not like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary.
No, I don't think it's necessary.
No.
I'm more like, you know what, and definitely here's another part to that is that, you know what, if you're like, definitely just do it, right? So if you have an idea, you want to open a multimedia company, something like that, okay? Don't wait till it's perfect. Just have something figured out and
don't wait for we said that. For example, this.
Yeah.
We talked about it. We're like, we're trying to make something perfect that you just can't.
No, go for it.
You just got to start.
I can even see the difference. So when you guys started with that mic stand and then moving to this format, you're growing and figuring it out, and you know, I think it's working.
And that's what you have to do anyway. Like, you're not going to be a superstar from day one.
No,
it's not going to happen.
No,
you learn along the way.
Yeah.
Where can we find you or your companies?
Yeah, so let's see. So there's Upper Thames Brewing Company. It's at 225 Bisham Park in Woodstock, Unit 9. It's kind of the main center of the plaza. Brickhouse Prewbub, which is our restaurant, and it brews on site. You can also get retail cans to go out of both locations. So it's at 190 Fairway Road in Woodstock, up in the northwest end. Oh boy, you're challenging me. Instagram is, I think it's Upper Thames Brewing.
Okay.
And
We'll
Brickhouse
add some links
Prewbub.
to the video.
To think of it right off, I should be able to rattle it off, but it's some sort of
But you're
mixture
on
of both of those. Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah. Instagram is well maintained. Facebook, Twitter is kind of a cut and paste. You'll see posts from there, but definitely those three platforms we're really big on. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on.
Awesome. Yeah. Great to see you guys.
It was our pleasure.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening to episode number 7 of the Canadian Hustlers podcast, and we'll be back next week.